Welcome all to Selective Prep Power Thinking Skills Test 44. In this video, we have 10 questions which have been selected from this test paper, and we will be going through them in a step-by-step fashion. Let's start with the first question. This first question, we want to work out which two students like science and economics. What you can do is cross out the people that don't like or have not been stated that they like science and economics. One thing you have to be careful of is just because they say they don't like another one does not automatically mean that they like science and economics. So for example here, Helen likes medicine and science. So we know that science is in, medicine is not mentioned in the prompt. So we are going to leave Helen for now in circle science. Mary likes science and economics. So Mary is definitely in. Okay, she likes both of the listed ones. So Mary is in, which means these A and B can be cancelled out. Angela likes economics, science, and engineering. So economics, science, and engineering. Engineering is not part of the description, but doesn't matter because she likes economics and science. So you can choose D straight away. Be careful of these names. They have made them very similar on purpose so that you may get tripped up. Okay, be careful. It's D. Okay, and to confirm, we can look at the last one. Angelina does not like medicine and science. And like I said, does not like medicine does not mean that she likes science or she likes economics. And anyways, it does say that she doesn't like science either. So Angelina is out. So the answer is D. Okay, question 2. So we have some people. We have me and my friend, or my friend and I, are taking turns flying a plane to and from school. Each one-way trip we make, the fuel decreases by the following amount. So we start with 40 litres and we want to see how many one-way trips we can take before we run out of fuel and whose turn is it when this happens. You have to realize that me and my friend, when we go either way, okay, me and friend, either way added together is 15 litres, okay? So back and forth will be 15 litres. How many times does this 15 litres go into 40? Well, you can see that it will go twice, right? That's 30 litres. So if you minus 30 from 40 litres, and that will count for 4 lots of one-way trips, OWT, one-way trips, right? This leaves with 10 litres. This would be the last trip and we will run out of fuel on this trip. Okay, so that's why we can have 4 full one-way trips and the person who it runs out on would be me. Okay, so the answer is B. 4 trips and I would be the one that will end up with fuel that's run out. So you can have a read of the solutions here if you'd like a more detailed explanation. Okay, next one was a speed question. So we have a Formula 1 driver. They are trying to drive to set the fastest lap. His fastest lap record is 3 minutes. The track is 5 kilometers long. He wants to beat the record by 1 minute. What is the difference in speed? Let's start with his current speed. You have to realize the answer options are in kilometers per hour, so we are going to try and change it. 5 kilometers per 3 minutes. We want to get to 60 minutes, which is an hour. You times by 20. So you times both sides by 20 and you get 100 kilometers in 60 minutes. 100 kilometers in 60 minutes. So i.e. the original time, I'm going to label it, okay, because that's going to help me. The original time is 100 kilometers per hour. Now he wants to beat the record by 1 minute. The track is not going to change. The track is still 5 kilometers. Instead of 3 minutes though, he's going to try and run it or drive it in 2 minutes. To find the speed per hour, you want to change it into 60 minutes again, times by 30. This side you times by 30, you get 150 kilometers in 60 minutes, i.e. 150 kilometers per hour. I'm going to box that one as well. That is the new time. You can see that the difference is quite big, quite vast between this one and this one, okay? Even though it's only 1 minute difference, because the track is so short, if you were to drive that for an hour, you would be 150 minus 100 kilometers apart, which is 50 kilometers per hour difference. Okay, don't forget that. The word difference asks you for the difference between the two speeds. If you are not careful, you may have chosen these ones. They're both wrong. A is the answer for the difference. Okay, 4 and 5 are linked. So we have a bunch of operations that are going on. The finish times of the critical patients are delayed by 25 minutes due to unforeseen complications. We arrive at 3 p.m. The operation begins at 11:30 a.m. How long is it before we can see our friend? Let's first figure out how long it would take until our friend is finished. We want to add 25 minutes to the critical patient. So it'll be 25 minutes here. So our friend is J. Our friend is J. Okay, and so we're going to add up these three. Don't forget the 25 minutes. So 5 hours and 30 minutes, 3 hours, 25 plus 25 is 50 minutes, 10 hours and 30 minutes. You add it up. We're not going to worry about Robert because J will be finished by then. Okay, so we add it up. We get 110, and this would be 18. Okay, so i.e. 18 hours, 110 minutes. If you minus 60, you get 50. So you can carry that 60 over for an hour. So you're going to get 19 hours and 50 minutes. Now, remember we started waiting at 11:30 a.m. We started waiting at 3 p.m. The operation starts at 11:30 a.m. How many hours did we not wait, but the operations were happening? We are going to minus, okay? 11:30, we have 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. So that's 3 hours and an extra 30 minutes to make it 3 p.m. 3 hours and 30 minutes have lapsed while we weren't there. So we have to minus that from our waiting time. We have to minus it from our waiting time so that we can calculate how many minutes we actually waited for. 20 minutes, 16 hours. 16 hours and 20 minutes is the answer, or option D. Okay, so number 5, using the same stimulus. We have a surgeon. They're doing in reverse order this way. And the operations start at 10 a.m. What time can we see our friend? So there is a 1 hour and 25 minute delay. So we're just going to add up these ones. 4 hours and 35, 10:30 plus 1:25. Add up 10, we have 6, 9, 5, 1. So 15 hours and 90 minutes, i.e. 16 hours and 30 minutes. You're going to add this onto 10 a.m. 10 a.m. plus 16:30. The a.m. means that in 24-hour time, it's still going to be 10. So you can add straight away and you get, 26:30. Now, obviously, 26:30 is not even existing in 24-hour time. What that means is gone over the day. So you can minus 24 and you get 2:30. 0230, which means it's AM or option C as our answer. Okay, we can do some ordering now. This one, you notice that this doesn't really make sense. Stretch to environment. Stretch to what? To what limit? 2 and 4 must be changed, okay? For the closest of our own city environments. We're describing the environments with this word city. Stretch to infinity. That makes more sense, okay? To the limits of infinity or lack thereof. So option D. Okay, number 7, assessing the impact of additional evidence. We want something that will weaken Tilly's decision. What is her decision? Let's use our highlighter. Tilly is trying to convince everyone to go ahead on the trip, even though there has been outbreaks in France. Okay, so what would actually weaken Tilly's decision to convince everyone to go on this trip? The answer is C. This current outbreak in France, linking with the outbreak in France we're talking about, very specifically, is one of the deadliest recorded and is life-threatening. These are pretty good reasons as to why friends will no longer go and why Tilly should not convince people to go, because it is life-threatening. Okay, these links make C the best answer. Number 8. So we know that studying to become a lawyer is a lengthy and difficult process. Let's use our highlighter. Okay. And it says that in total the process takes a minimum of 6 years. So that is like the majority of the facts that are stated in this passage. Okay. The other ones are quite subjective. What I mean by that, lengthy and difficult, it might depend on the person. Okay, many students, so that means some people don't often study longer and so on. Okay, but the process takes a minimum of 6 years, is very confident and straightforward, therefore it is a fact. So A is an underlying assumption. A degree in 5 years cannot be a lawyer, okay, because they've specifically stated it was a minimum of 6 years. So that's why A is the answer. Okay, number 9, we are going to draw a quick diagram. We're starting from home to school. Okay, so passing by these different things. So the Italian restaurant is 2 kilometers from school. So I'm going to do 2 km, an Italian restaurant. We've done this one. Basketball court is the second place Otti visits on the way to school. 3 kilometers from his house. So we'll put it here because it's the second place basketball court, and this is 3 kilometers. The hair salon is 1 kilometer from his house. So you know this middle one must be hair salon, and this is 1 kilometer. I'm going to rub this out and write 2 kilometers here to make it clear. Okay, you know that part is done because there was only one before basketball court. Okay. All right, the bakery is 4 kilometers away from school and it's the third place Otti passes. So he passed 1, 2, so it must be here. The bakery is 4 km from school. So this must be 4 km. Now let's see which ones can be concluded. A. Otis usually stops by the bakery to buy some breakfast. We don't know that. That is a complete assumption, so it's out. The hair salon is closer to the school than the library. Hair salon is here, closer to school than the library. Where's the library? Oh, sorry, than the bakery. Nope, that's not true. Bakery is here, so that A, B is out. The Italian restaurant is the last place Otis passes. Yes, that is true. Okay, before he goes to school, it's the Italian restaurant, so C is the answer. Let's check D for good luck. The distance between the Italian restaurant and the bakery is 3 kilometers. Italian and bakery is 4 kilometers, so D is also proven wrong. Okay, last question. At Polwood Primary School, we have all the boys in Year 6 play soccer. 50% went to play another sport, and Polwood Primary School had over 600 students. Stephen said that Polwood is the most popular sport played in soccer is the most popular sport played in Polwood. So it might be just popular among the Year 6 boys. Okay, we have no inference or information about the rest of the school, so we cannot assume that A is out. Mark is a boy who attends Polwood Primary School who does not play soccer. This means that he definitely cannot be in Year 6 at school. So remember, all of the boys in Year 6 play soccer. Therefore, if this is a boy who does not play soccer and goes to Polwood, then he is not in Year 6. So Helen is correct. It's B. Again, you can have a read of the solutions if you'd like. Let's do some key points from this test. So the first one being for logical thinking questions, okay, I urge you to keep your working out neat, okay? Box or underline important information, okay, for reference later. And don't forget to label your work. So for that speed question, remember how I labeled the current and the new time, and then I could minus which one from which. If you don't label it and just have working out all over the place, it's not going to be very efficient, okay? For identifying assumptions questions, okay, I want you to highlight the main idea in the passage, okay, and try and link it directly to the answer options. That's really important, okay? That's what's going to get you to the answer. So that actually concludes today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And please try and take something away from these key points because they will probably help you. Until next time, I hope you have a lovely week.